Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And today I thought I would kind of talk about and laugh about how silly some of this stuff gets with the accusations of fakery and things. Let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing. Work on scaling up my crafting a little bit. Let's talk about this. And you guys know that this year I made a decision for a certain amount of transparency and is accurate tools for my own tracking. I mean, people need to understand a lot of times when we're training, we're lifting, we're doing things, we want to be better athletes ourselves. We're not just doing this stuff to show other people. It gives us valuable tools. You know, for example, me buying a lot of calibrated plates, right? I have calibrated plates for training so that I know exactly where my various strength levels are, right? There's no ambiguity. Like, do I have to ask myself, is that 305 or is that 315 on the bar? Because you get into a commercial gym and you don't actually know, right? You don't actually know. Or if you buy cheap plates, you don't really know for sure. You're just in the ballpark. And I like to use things like micro loading. I use micro plates and things, and it helps to have everything accurate. The same thing, I decided to do the Dexa scans so that I could track my own progress over time. And we can argue all that we want about how accurate it is, but we don't have any other tools that are more accurate. And that's kind of the point we get to with some of that. And people will say, well, you know, you can do things to fake the DEXA scans. And I actually had people accuse me of taking like the bigger rubberized rogue plates that I have, the competition ones for that. People accuse me of taking them out and drilling several pounds out of them. And it's like, the same people stand there and talk about how broke I am. They're like, oh, he's totally broke. And they think I'm going to take $2,000 worth of plates, because go look at what those plates cost. Just gonna put that out there. Go look at the price tag for the number of them that I have. You guys keep in mind, I've got 8 of the red rubberized rogue plates, the 55s, and I have 10 of the calibrated 45s. Go look at the price tag on those and then come back and say, wait a minute, this guy is just gonna squander that sort of money and ruin those plates. They would be ruined for resale value. They'd be ruined for trade value. They'd be ruined for anything I wanted to use them for. It would be basically me just throwing away pretty significant sums of money. So you have to look at stuff like that and just go, wow. You got to go, wow. When people say, well, he's done that, or it's fake weights. And it's like, who else on YouTube goes through the trouble of paying twice as much money for plates so that they'll have solid calibrated plates, and they'll have plates that are guaranteed weights so that we don't need to wonder what the plate actually weighs. No one else is doing that. Yet when I do it, there's people make videos about it. We think he's drilled these out, until I go over and then use a calibrated plates for the same lifts. And it's like, oh, you know, it's total absurdity. And people need to understand, reasonable people who they see this stuff, reasonable people look at this and, okay, this is someone who's actually being pretty transparent. They're being reasonably transparent. And it is to show what's going on with my training, to show over time what I'm doing. And it will go to show you guys why we have to do things a certain way. The DEXA scan is a valuable feedback tool. You know, when we're able to track muscle loss versus fat loss, that can give valuable feedback. And it's been a learning tool for me personally, and it's been a learning tool for my audience. Yes, it carries a degree of accountability out there for the audience, but that's not the only point. It's a valuable tool. And then people will say, well, you could be doing different things with your water intake going into each scan. Yeah, but that would be detected eventually. Like how many times are you going to be able to do some trickery before it shows up on a scan? Meaning, third scan, fourth scan, fifth scan, because I'm going to keep doing them. I'm going to probably do one every 3 months. I've already done 3 scans now, spread out 3 months apart each one. Eventually, if I'm messing with it that way, it's going to get caught. It's like I'm going to have a scan that comes out extremely weird. I'm going to have a scan all of a sudden where I've gained 5 pounds of body fat or lost 10 pounds of muscle in 3 months while losing weight or something, right? That's what would end up happening. It's going to be something's going to get flustered. And I've tried to just be consistent. I go in and do the scans consistently. I eat pretty similar amounts of food the evening before. I get well hydrated. I walk in fasted. I drink black coffee before I go in and do one, so I'm not dehydrated or anything. I'm drinking, you know, quite a bit of black coffee and water and things going into the scan. But, you know, I'm going in with consistency because I need consistency for my own tracking. And you know, and it's funny, people say, well, he's not 17%, but he's got to be whatever. And it's like, I don't have a gut. I have a stomach that's in further than my rib cage. it's not unreasonable to assume a person is under 20% body fat whose ribs are further out than their belly button. I mean, it's not, I'm not ripped, I'm not ultra lean, I'm not like bodybuilder lean, not even close. Not even close. But you know, the absurdity to think that I'm not 17% body fat when I have a 34-inch waist and I don't have a gut. I mean, be realistic here, guys. I do actually train. You guys see my training, and that's the thing. Every single set of everything I do gets uploaded. You know, I've even had people suggest, and this is where people need to understand why I do things the way I do, why I've cut my personal life completely out of the internet. Like, you guys will never know on the internet. There'll never be a peep from me or anyone who I know personally as to what's going on in my love life. None of that's ever going to be online because of the crazy, goofy-ass trolls and stalking I deal with. And people who followed it realize how crazy it is. I do get people who even know me, who they go look into it like, wow, this shit's crazy. It's crazy. So why don't I get the technicians or the dietitians from my Dexa scan place to get up and talk about my results? Quite simply put, because like with every other business I deal with, I discuss my situation with them and then we decide if that's a good idea. Because here's exactly what would happen. When I get my trolls who come in and they say, well, you need to put them on the camera to confirm you're not faking anything, I will probably, the very last scan I ever do at that place so that people know that I'm not going to use it again and therefore hopefully they won't harass them, I might do that. But in the meantime, the people who are urging me to do that are also the same people who would create a hate campaign against that business. Because here's how it happens. Anyone who I publicly associate with, the goofy ass trolls start calling them and harassing them and threatening them and telling them things like, you know, they'll 5-star their businesses, they'll create 100 fake accounts and put 1-star reviews on their businesses because they took my money, right? That's how ridiculous the internet gets. So when I look at it from that perspective and people look at the track history of that happening online, go look and actually find out this actually does happen. Not making this up, you guys can do a little digging. You can see for yourselves that's exactly what happens to anyone who I've interacted with. If I get tagged in a location on Facebook or there's a rumor I've been spotted at a place, that place starts getting 1-star reviews, even without confirmation, right? Gyms have been hit with 50 1-star reviews that I have never been inside of just because people thought I was training there. Like, innocent businesses get hurt. And that's the point too. Innocent businesses get attacked because they're taking my money. I mean, how absurd is that? That a business sells me their product at the normal price, just like any other customer, and then they get attacked by internet trolls. Innocent businesses and their livelihoods get hurt because they took money from me for a service that they offer to everyone in the world. Like, how absurd is that? But that's what happens. So no, I'm not going to put a tech up there. I might on the very last scan I ever do, just so that they can discuss it. Maybe I might put one of them in front of a camera. But in the meantime, it's ridiculous. And that's for the same reason I don't eat on the camera. Because I already have people who are obsessed with the intimate details of my life who are that crazy and they attack businesses. Things like my food and eating is a personal thing. Eating is a very intimate thing for people. And I just don't want to give them that sort of insight and obsession into my personal life, because anytime I've eaten on camera, those people seem to obsess over it. They obsess over it. There'll be videos made about it, and it's just weird. So that's one reason I don't do that, is because of all that. But as far as the other stuff goes, it's there to give an amount of accountability so that people can see what I'm doing. They can see what I'm doing with my training, what I'm doing with my weights, how much weight I actually have on the bar. That's why it's funny. People are like, why don't you list the weights? Because it's like, you guys can't, they're calibrated plates. Like, anyone who knows what the colors mean can glance and say, aha, that's 315 pounds. Because blue plates weigh 45, red plates weigh 55. Right? In fact, me not putting it there, you should be able to count it easier and know with more accuracy than you can the guys who do the gym plates. Because you know that my 4 plates is a legitimate 405. I mean, it really isn't that difficult. But it is there for accountability. And it's there for my own personal tools that I can use as learning tools as I go. Because it's given me the ability to do a lot of feedback. And it's given me the ability to make changes based upon the most accurate data that I have personally for what's going on with me as I continue to move forward with all these things. So the whole idea, though, that I'm faking the stuff, or that my DEXA scans are altered, or that I'm using fake plates and all of this, I think this is only the weird mindset of goofy ass trolls. And it's people, and it really goes to show how absurd most of these people are. It really does. Because I think most normal people, when you consider that the majority of YouTubers in the fitness world aren't doing DEXA scans, they're not doing anything to measure their body composition to show you guys, hey, how much muscle did I gain or lose in my right leg, right? They're not doing any of that. The majority aren't. I think like Kinobody, he's doing DEXA scans. Most of the people aren't, but he's not even publishing his results. Like, he's not giving you the full printout. He's just saying, aha, this is my body fat. Well, okay. Well, how much muscle do you have in your right leg? How much muscle do you have in your left arm? I mean, we're not getting the full breakdown. He's not publishing the data, but he's at least doing the scans. But people aren't doing that, and they aren't training with calibrated plates. So they don't always have the level of transparency, and that's what I'm doing. I want there to be transparency with what I'm doing, so that people can see what's going on and what changes are happening, what I'm really lifting, what my strength changes are like over time. And I think it's just good, valuable tools, and I enjoy it. And I think most reasonable people look at that and understand it and see it that way. I would hope so. I would hope. But, sometimes there can seem to be an absence of reasonable people on the internet. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.